And maybe you don't like that because maybe you feel like it's too safe. So do some research and check out some later Coltrane and find, find the genre that kind of speaks to you. Don't listen to something once and go, oh, I don't like that. That's jazz. You can do that with classic rock because it's only kind of one thing, you know what I mean? But jazz is so many things. And so I've had experiences where people say, oh yeah, I don't like jazz. I'm like, well, what did you see? Oh, my friends gave me tickets to this show and it was like avant-garde craziness. And I was like, well, okay, like, have you checked out Hank Mobley? Like, I'm pretty sure you're gonna like Hank Mobley. The other thing, and I know this is really difficult to do right now, especially here in BC with the pandemic, when you hear jazz live and you see jazz live, it gives you a whole different perspective of the music. So I can
Right.
play jazz for somebody on my stereo and it doesn't touch them at all.
But they
They don't they
see it
don't
live, right?
they see it live, they see you, they watch what you're doing, they see the interaction, they see the fun. They're like, I love jazz. It's really quite fascinating. So try to get out and see live jazz as well as listening to it, because I always tell people, there's more in the world than, and this is coming from the biggest Hank Mobley fan in the world. There's more in the world than just Hank Mobley. Like, go out and check out some of your local cats and support them. And that's my advice, I think.
Speaking of Cory Weeds on Jazz 90.1. And so, Cory, for you, in terms of 2021, what other projects do you have coming up, either playing or producing?
Yeah, well, a lot of us musicians have had to pivot, starting this time a year ago. And I'm one of the lucky ones, is that I'm fairly established here in Vancouver. The label has experienced a bit of I was going to say renaissance, but that's not really what I mean. But, there is certainly a hankering to support artists and support independent labels. So we pretty much just kept cooking, and this is actually our 20th anniversary year. So we have another reel-to-reel project that's coming out. It's actually been announced. It's a Roy Brooks quintet project that was recorded at the Left Bank in Baltimore, Maryland. Another archive that we've dipped
Mm.
into on previous releases. We just had we just had a Spike Wilner trio record drop. We had an Alyssa Allgood record drop. We've got a Ray Gallen record coming up. We've got some I've got a really neat project coming up. I worked with Jeremy Pelt to produce a series of recordings led by Black musicians as a support, as sort of our support as a label to the Black Lives Matter movement. And Jeremy has been the face of that and has produced these recordings. And we're introducing an incredible young singer by the name of Michael Stephenson. Wonderful guy, wonderful musician. Bruce Harris is putting a record out, produced by Jeremy. You're probably aware of Bruce. That's coming out in June. Anthony Wanzi is putting on a record that's been
You're
produced.
cooking. You literally are
Yeah, it's
cooking.
really cool, and I'm proud of this project because earlier on in the pandemic, of course, when the George Floyd stuff happened and everybody was blacking out their Instagram screens. I did it because that's what everybody was doing, but it didn't feel. I don't know. It didn't feel like that was enough, and of course, it's not enough. I don't think anybody feels that it's enough, but it felt a little bit. It just didn't feel right. So I called Jeremy, and Jeremy's a good friend of mine, and he was patient with me and answered a lot of my dumb questions. And I said, here's what I want to do. How can we do this? So what we ended up doing is each one of those leaders that I mentioned, Anthony Wanzi, Bruce Harris, and Michael Stephenson, the label made a $1,250 donation to a Black charity of their choice.
Mm.
So I'm really proud of it. And there's a statement by myself and by Jeremy that accompanies each record. And that's just one thing. The partnership with Spike Wilner, like his trio record, is part of a partnership that's going to result in more recordings
Nice.
through the Smalls Live Foundation.
Cory, you're killing it, Cory.
It's I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. I'm just immersed in the music, and I have very supportive people. We raised a bunch of money for our 20th anniversary, and so we're doing live streams and records, and so yeah, it's good, man. I got nothing to complain about. I do complain because I'm very
Yeah, of
good
course.
at it, but
Yeah. We
but
won't talk hockey yet all.
yeah,
Talking to Cory.
yeah, exactly.
Talking to Cory Weeds here on Jazz 90.1. So Cory, for folks who are discovering the joys of jazz radio, what advice can you give them to help them continue to support us?
Oh man, well, yeah, support jazz radio because without jazz radio, in Canada too, but definitely in the United States, where there are stations pretty much in every little city and in every place. You know, Jazz radio needs your support, and jazz radio is important for so many reasons. But first and foremost, just promoting this music and promoting the local talent in the city that you're in, and recording this new, playing this new stuff, our stuff, and all the new records that come out. So if you can spare a few dollars to support your local jazz radio station, please do it. You guys have been so supportive of me over the years since day one, and I can't say thank you enough.
Well, thank you, Cory. You know what? The song I was going to play actually kind of like works for both of us. Mr. Lucky on Jazz 90.1 and Jazz901.org. Cory Weeds, thank you so much, and best of health, and keep swinging, man.
Thank you, man.